Hey guys, it's Daryl here in Connecticut. It is about 10 o'clock on a Tuesday. I was looking into the impeachment trial, getting disgusted. I was looking over the Majority Report, a channel here on YouTube that I enjoy. I was watching a caller argue that he had a big problem with people getting free lunches, with kids getting free lunches, $1. He had a problem with this. And it reaffirms my idea that it seems that the people that are drawn to Trump are similar to him. They're resentful, spiteful, envious, greedy, jealous people. Now, that's a pretty harsh judgment, but that's how I feel. Okay, so this guy was complaining because he doesn't think it's right that that he has to chip in to help out somebody else. Let me tell you this, okay? My dad was a hardworking man. He had 2 jobs. He worked all day and then worked another part-time job at night. He didn't have to. He did it just to better his family. He ended up becoming the park ranger, the head ranger at a local state park here. I was very proud of him. He also worked as a forest firefighter. Um, he was the man that dressed up as Smokey the Bear and rode on top of the fire truck on the yearly Fireman's Carnival parade here. I could not have been prouder of my father. He was a good man, a hardworking man, a gun collector. He taught me how to shoot, taught me basic rules. Some of them right, some of them I learned don't apply these days. Taught me never take the first punch. That was a bad piece of advice. Taught me how to fight, how to box, taught me how to shoot a gun. All right, here's the thing. My mom was the stay-at-home mom. My sister was born when I was 6. My dad was so proud. He said he had a matching set, a son and a daughter. Like I said, he was the man. He was the top man. After a lot of work and proving himself for the state, for the DEP, Department of Environmental Protection here, he ended up getting appointed as the park ranger, the top man. And we lived in the park house, the state park house there. It was a nice kind of log cabin-y looking house on a big piece of property in the park with the maintenance barns behind where my dad would go to work and run the crews and everything. He died of brain cancer when I was 9 years old. He started getting double vision, and within 6 months he was dead. I watched him die a horrible, horrible death. Chemotherapy. I learned the term malignant and terminal. I learned those words when I was 8 years old. I'm not doing this for sympathy, but here's the thing. My mom was left to watch over us. Within 6 months, we no longer had a father. We no longer had a breadwinner. My mom had to figure out, for a while, there's money for, when this happens and whatnot, but there's Social Security. And then all of a sudden, I was one of those kids that I think, if I remember correctly, it was a reduced lunch that I got. Yeah, it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. A lot of my friends were mostly middle class, upper middle class kids. It wasn't something we asked for. It wasn't due to bad choices. It wasn't due to laziness. It was just fate. This is where, whenever I hear somebody say, it's not fair, life's not fair, wah, 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 I freaking despise it. You want me to tell you what's not fair? I could give you a quick rundown of what's not fair from an 8-year-old's eyes. There's a lot of things that aren't fair. Life isn't fair. What I learned, especially after when I've been in recovery, is that everything that happens in your life, but most especially these tragedies, these bad things, terminal disease, when you lose a family member, losing a job, losing your home, fire, serious car accident. There is always there's always a positive side to it, and people are going to think I'm crazy by saying that. There's something to be learned. There's this hardship will teach you something if you look for it. If you want to learn from it, it will teach you something. I became a much stronger man. As I told you guys in another story, I ended up having to protect my mother and sister one night. We thought somebody was going to break in. There was a car full of kids, teenagers in the front yard. I was about 10 years old. My mom was frozen. My baby sister was in her crib. And it was up to me to go get the shotgun and defend the family and become a man. So, tell me about life not being fair. So anyway, I hear this guy whine because he doesn't want to pony up a little extra money for kids like I was. You know, they're not all immigrants. They're not all, you know, and they're not all lazy. They're not all. It's not all bad choices. And here's the thing: it's not up to you to judge. We live in a society here, and we help each other out. You know, this guy actually believed, this caller actually believed that because other people, these other kids were receiving a free lunch, they didn't have to pay, they didn't have the dollar to pay, they didn't have to pay that dollar, that it was taking a dollar away from him, that it was somehow a negative. Even if he didn't have to pay to cover their lunch, he was still angry because his kid had to pay a dollar. So that in his mind, by judging himself against these people who are unfortunate, by judging himself against them, he deemed himself, that he's at a loss now because now his kids have to pay a dollar for lunch, but these kids don't. So he's losing money. In some ways, I almost feel sorry for people that think like this. The surest way, I've said this before, the surest way to unhappiness, to leading a resentful, spiteful life is by judging yourself, by comparing yourself and judging yourself to your neighbors, to your peers. It's a sure way to unhappiness, a sure way. Another sure way is trying to judge what's fair and what's not fair. Here's my philosophy. Nothing's fair. There's going to be ups. There's going to be downs. There's going to be bitch, bastard, suck ass days, and they're going to suck. But it's going to make me stronger. Another thing too is I've learned I don't compare myself to other people. Since I got into recovery, especially, I want to be a better man than I was yesterday, than I was last week. And I've learned to help me do this too is I write in journals every day just to gauge my progress. I literally have boxes and boxes of those notebooks downstairs, dozens and dozens of notebooks from the years, just a paragraph or two. But it's interesting to look back and see where I was a year ago, see where I was 5 years ago. Even just this YouTube channel, I look as a win, and it has nothing to do with being monetized or anything like that, or not even really views or anything like that. But it's something that I set my mind to, that I did, and I did well. And that's by my judgment and not by anybody else's. And it makes me happy. To me, it's a W in the win column for me. It makes me feel good. And I'm happy. I'm happy every day. I see more and more of this. That's, and I don't like judging the Trump supporters, but what I see people that seem to have given up, that just think that all politicians are lying, and they've lowered the bar so much um, on what they expect from a politician. They accept lying, the corruption, everything. They assume that everybody does it, so why not a politician that works for them? And I see this, the envy and the greed and the jealousy. They always seem in judgment of other people, what other people deserve as compared to me. Those that gay couple doesn't deserve to get married. Only straight couples do. Um, Moral judgments. This person, even if she was raped, she can't have an abortion. Um, and it's really not up to you, to these people to judge. And so, especially it's obvious with the Social Security and stuff, and people like this with the complaining over $1, somebody getting a free lunch. They have no idea. They have no idea what hardship this family incurred, that their child that they can't afford $1 lunch for their child. Maybe it was a story like mine, where you're doing great. You got a great breadwinner as a father, a model man, and within 6 months he's gone, and it'll happen. Yeah, it happens to everybody. I learned that at an early age. There's life and there's death. We all die. People used to wonder if I was angry at God, and no, I was never angry at God. I just accepted it. I was never angry at anybody for losing my dad. Um, I kind of took on a fatalistic attitude, though, which led me to drugs. I can see that now. I took on the attitude even back then that life is short, and we could die tomorrow. I could die in an hour. I could die in 5 minutes. I could fall down I could fall down the stairs on the way to get my laundry and be dead, break my neck. The point there is not to look at, and I learned this the hard way by using drugs, by escaping into drugs. I thought it was a way to enjoy my life more, but it wasn't. I was wrong. Um, the best way to use this is to be a better man every day. I saw a quote, and I posted this on Facebook recently, that when I go to heaven, I want to have used up every single little bit of talent and happiness that God had given me when I was born. I want to go there spent. I like that. Um, my goal is to be a better man tomorrow, the next day. And with that, I'm happy. I found something that works for me. And I assume it's not just me that it works for, but I assume it works for other people too. All right. That's about it, though. Just some thoughts. It's some thoughts that came to mind when I heard this guy complaining about other children getting their lunch for free and him having to pay $1 for his. All right, you guys have a good Tuesday.